Good morning, it's Charles here from Charles N Photography. Today we're at Lake Eden, but our tutorial today is not about taking photos, it is really how to set up our camera and specifically how to use the picture controls on your Nikon camera to actually get a better photo when we're shooting in JPEG. Now, most of us shoot in RAW. So what we see here on the LCD screen is actually just a thumbnail preview of what the image could look like if the editing that was done in camera was applied to our RAW file. So if we just selected a flat profile in picture controls, the JPEG image here would look quite flat. But if we selected the vivid profile, it would look very rich, a bit of sharpness, a bit of contrast, and the colors would be a bit more saturated, would look very different. So in RAW, it doesn't matter too much, although I still prefer to actually set up my picture profile to give me an idea of what the image would look like. But if you're shooting in JPEG, then you really should be using the picture controls to actually set the tone of your image, because we go by the belief that a JPEG image is a finished product. So unless you're going to be cropping it a little bit, everything else should be done in camera. This is where setting our white balance is very important, and also setting up the picture controls. Because if you want to shoot in black and white, monochrome, then you can actually set your picture control to monochrome. Or if you're shooting people, portraits and all that, then you can actually set the profile for portraits. The same if we're shooting landscape. If we're shooting landscapes, we can set to the landscape profile or to the vivid profile. Landscape is the one that I use all the time when I'm out and about. If you're shooting vivid, it actually gives you a more postcard look. The colors are quite saturated, there's a bit of sharpness added to the image. But not only that, but all of these profiles you can actually customize to your heart's content. So I'll read through all the profiles that we have, and then we'll actually take a photo of Lake Eden with each profile to actually show you what they look like. Now, all the images that are in this video are straight from the camera. There has been no editing involved to actually give you a very clear idea of what the picture profiles look like. And my white balance will actually be set to daylight so that it actually doesn't change the color rendition of any image. So here are our picture profiles. So we go into menu, we come down to picture controls, and we have standard, neutral, vivid, monochrome, portrait, landscape, and flat. So our first photo will be standard, and we press OK. Now the settings don't really matter, but all I'm doing is just setting up so that I have a correct exposure. So now we'll actually start taking photos with all our different profiles. So we have standard, neutral, vivid, monochrome, portrait, landscape, and flat. Now, did you see how all the different profiles actually gave you a different feel to your image? But the advantage here is that, like everything in your camera, you can actually customize it to your own liking. So let's say I like the landscape profile, but I just want a little bit more contrast, a bit more sharpness, and just a little bit more saturation. So now I will actually show you, using the LCD screen at the back, how to actually set up your picture profiles and how you can actually manipulate them to actually get the type of photo that you would like. So if I come up here to the picture control, I select landscape. Now, if I want to add a bit more sharpening to the image, I can dial it up. I want to add a little bit more clarity, I dial it up. I want to add a bit more contrast, dial it up. I'll leave the brightness alone. And let's say I want to add just that tad of saturation. I put it in. Now look at the difference between the standard landscape profile and the edited version of the landscape profile. This is the beauty of knowing how your camera works and how you can actually fine-tune your camera, especially if you're taking JPEG, so you don't have to do any editing. Now, I've been doing photography workshops for quite a long time, and quite a lot of people, they want to learn more about taking photos, they want to learn how to edit photos, but there are some that say, I just want to use my camera, I want to go out when I've got the kids around, or if I go on holidays, I just want to take photos, but I don't want to come home and actually have to edit all these photos that I've taken. This is where you can say, well, you can just shoot in JPEG. You just have to know how to set your camera up, and you can come home with some great images without doing any editing. Now, understand that a JPEG image, although it can look very good, it will not look as detailed as a RAW. But for sharing to social media, even for printing and all that, it will still look quite good. The difference sometimes is a very fine line. Sometimes I've taken images when I've been out in RAW, and I've also shot in JPEG at the same time because I was out with my family, and I look at the two and I go like, well, I don't need to even use the RAW file because the JPEG that I took on the same day looks good enough. When you're doing this, I actually tell people it is best to actually be outside, where there's a bit of sun around, where there's also different colors around. I tell people, like a very nice sunny day like we have today, have your camera pointed even in your backyard. And this is the best time to actually set up your picture profile, so you can see how all those colors look differently in the different profiles. So I hope this video has helped you. If you've got any comments or questions, leave them in the comment box below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Charles for Charles N Photography. Bye for now.